Hello there. Just wanted to go over some reflections that I had today. I had a client today. It's always interesting to reflect back on some of the work that I have the privilege of doing. But I had a client today that had a couple issues that he was going through. He's really focused on health, and this is a pretty dialed-in guy. He owns a couple businesses, well off enough to be able to focus on a side hustle that he enjoys. Pretty high level habit type of person, pretty dialed in, pretty hard worker. And at the beginning of the conversation, I was kind of struggling to figure out like how I can provide value to him, like what things he was struggling with. And eventually we got towards uh, how there's nothing that he wants to focus on in terms of optimizing himself. In fact, he was doing too much optimization, and he felt like maybe he could focus a little bit more on like recovery or rest. Shared a story with him about Tim Grover and his relationship with Kobe Bryant. In one of his interviews, Tim Grover talks about how the number one thing that was difficult for him in his struggles with Kobe Bryant was that it was difficult to get him to stop, to get him to realize that recovery is a very important part of the process, because that's the part that allows you to grow. And so, I was having a conversation with this client, he has young kids. He's a 1 year old and a 4 year old, and so for those parents out there, having young kids means you don't sleep. And so the question becomes, what is your recovery protocol when you don't have sleep? What is your system in which allows you to optimize yourself during times that you have extreme amounts of fatigue? And so when I asked him the question, like, hey, so what do you do when you have those moments? Like, do you have a recovery protocol? And he's like, oh, I don't have a recovery protocol. So it's perfect. Let's start there. The advice that I think resonated the most with him, because it's always important to find something that your client or the person that you're giving advice to resonates with. Otherwise, it's not going to actually have a high probability of success. You can't force a person to do those things. So you have to suggest things that has their attention, or things that they are passionate about or enjoy. So as we went through the conversation, he actually had a pretty solid meditation practice. He meditated for about 5 to 10 minutes a day. It's like perfect. And so when he asked for some suggestion, he asked me, "Oh, so like, what do you do when you're like low on sleep?" I mentioned to him that in my meditation practice, it really depends on what you're trying to optimize for. And as we got deeper and deeper into the conversation, what I realized and what I discovered was that he didn't know how to detect the different parts of energy. In other words, there's different kinds of energy. There's your physical energy. There's your mental energy. There's your emotional energy. And so with him, he kind of mixed in all of the energies together in terms of his ability to detect it. And so really good opportunity if you yourself are struggling with it, or if you are really connected to one form of energy versus the other. So his practice that he chose to commit to was to, during the day, whenever he has moments where he knows that he spends his energy. And in the example that we use the example of, when you have a team meeting or a meeting with one person and it takes 2 hours. At the end of the 2 hours, that you've spent your energy there. So in a moment like that, after you spend your energy, I asked him to check in with yourself. So you're going to stop. You're going to try to think about your physical feelings, like how does your body physically feel? You'll notice that sometimes certain parts of your body are more fatigued than others. So you basically want to try to pick a stimuli that has a physical sensation, right? As I'm talking right now, I can feel myself losing breath, so I can feel a little bit more fatigue in this area, because I'm speaking a lot. So if you're standing a lot, where is your fatigue at? By doing this exercise for him, he's able to be more efficient with his energy. If you know that you're more tired from a physical standpoint versus an emotional standpoint, the prescription in which you give yourself will be different. As a result, you'll be a little bit more efficient in terms of the recovery process in your energy, which allows you to be more productive. So he felt that it was helpful for him, and I'm glad we were able to find something that resonated with him. So overall exercise, check in with yourself 2-3 times a day. So he was lacking a lot of sleep due to his kids waking up in the middle of the night. So how do you recover from sleep? I really like Tim Ferriss's nighttime tonic. Basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna have 2 parts, I want to say 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon of local honey. You could use any honey, but local honey. That way your body begins building and adapting to your local environment. It's taken away allergies for me. I used to have a lot of allergies. Did it for 1 year, all gone. And then have it in hot water mixed together 30 minutes before sleeping. I've noticed that my sleep quality increases as a result of that. I get a little bit deeper sleep there. So hopefully that helps. That solves for sleep, and good luck on your journey for optimizing self.